pretty good at hearing a promise made from Yah. The key, however, is finding a way to take possession of that promise. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 2 of the Torah portion, Chayei. Let's go now to a little further in Bereshit, Genesis chapter number 23. And it says that Abraham rose up in verse 3 from beside his dead and spoke to the sons of Het, saying, I'm a foreigner and a sojourner among you. Give me property for a burial site among you so that I may bury my dead from my presence. And so they offer him, take whatever land that you want. And he says, no, I'll pay for it. He says in verse 8, if it is your desire that I bury my dead from my presence, hear me and approach Ephron, son of Sochar, for me. Let me have the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me for the complete amount of silver as property for a burial site among you. Now we're going to pause there. So Yah is very apt, very good, if you will, at giving us prophetic promises. But we are often very lousy when it comes to seeing them come to pass in an efficient and effective manner. Too often we want to get our little hands involved and we want to run ahead or lag behind. Our timing is off. Our obedience level is low. We have all kinds of issues. So the question might be asked, why does Yah give his great, exceedingly great promises to people who are incapable at times of seeing the promise come to pass, being prone to failure? I'm going to say this very clearly. Hopefully it'll translate clearly and may even repeat it. The key, I believe, is believing more in the promiser than being pressured by the promise. I'm going to repeat that. The key is believing more in he who made the promise than the pressure we apply to ourselves concerning the promise. So in Romans chapter number 4, beginning with verse 19 through verse 21, we read, and having not grown weak in belief, he, that is Abraham, did not consider his own body, already dead, being about 100 years old, and the deadness of Sarah's womb, he did not hesitate about the promise of Elohim through unbelief, but was strengthened in his belief, given esteem to Elohim, that is hope, confidence, trust in Yahweh, and being completely persuaded that what Yahweh, what he had promised, he was also able to do. The power to see promises fulfilled is not within our hands, it's within the one who gave the promise to begin with. Now, that doesn't mean that we sit back and just see how it's going to happen. We have to have some level of involvement. But it's about actions of required obedience as they come to us, not running ahead and trying to figure it out. So this elderly couple who have bodies that are beyond the childbearing seasons, we'll put it that way, have as promised that they are in fact going to have a child, which means then that they need to go about the marital process of trying to achieve that promise. But that's what's required of them, and they trust that even though the body doesn't seem to be of the age to cooperate, they're going to trust Yahweh and try anyhow. And it worked. It worked. Sarah conceived and bore a child even in her old age. Now the child that was born, Yitzhak, while he brought great joy and laughter, as his name suggests, to this home and to this family, and they celebrated, the promise, while it seems to have been a reality now, is only partially fulfilled. Yitzhak is not enough. There has to be more. The promise ultimately is the covenant of Hazarah v'Haaretz. Hazarah is the promise of the seed. Yitzhak fulfills that portion. He is the continuing seed that will receive the benefit of the covenant. The Haaretz, the land, however, where is the land? We have the seed, we have an heir, but what does he inherit? So now Abraham has to go about the process of securing title deed to the land. He has to have a foothold in the land. So Yah says, it's in this land that you will produce offspring that will be as numerous as the stars in the heaven and as the sand of the shore or the dust of the earth, an innumerable, uncountable host. So if we go back to chapter 13, and it says in verse 14, and after Lot had separated from him, Yahweh said to Abram, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, eastward and westward, for all the land which you see, I shall give to you and your seed forever. The promise. Haaretz v'Yizrah, and I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. And notice where he's at. So Avram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees at Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built a slaughter place to Yahweh there. Where is he at? He is in Mamre, which is also known as Hebron. Where did Sarah die? In Hebron. So where is it then that he is seeking to gain ownership? It says in chapter 23, verse 16 and following, and Abraham listened to Ephraim, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephraim, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Het, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Thus the field of Ephraim, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Het, before all who went in at the gate of his city. Now, what's just happened? Abraham has announced himself as a sojourner and a foreigner. I'm just one passing through in your eyes, but now I'm asking to be able to buy a piece of land, and giving honor and respect to this great man. The sons of Het said, whatever you want. We'll be glad for you to become a participant in this land with us, a title deed holder. Ephraim took advantage of Abraham, asking an exorbitant price while calling himself a close friend. He manipulated the situation to his own great advantage. Abraham didn't blink an eye. He simply paid out what was requested of him, because what was of value was more than just buying a place to bury his beloved wife Sarah. That was important. But what was also even more important was gaining title deed to that which was necessary for his son Yitzhak, a claim to the land. Messiah Yeshua paid an exorbitant price, Hasatan believing that he was manipulating the situation to his own advantage. But what Yeshua did is he gained title deed to the earth. He gained title deed to the kingdom. And what he acquired was much more important than anything that Hasatan thought he was gaining. Thank you for Yeshua buying what we need for the kingdom. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.